Howdy, Rasmanites, what's going on? It's time once again for us to continue the Dollhouse series after a few videos worth of delay. Today, we take a look at episode 2, entitled The Target. That's all coming up right now on the Razman's Reality. Alrighty, so Dollhouse episode 2, The Target. Let me real quickly remind you of a couple of things here. Number one is you can find all the Dollhouse series videos when this series is completed. If you haven't seen the show yet and you don't want to watch these episode by episode breakdowns or the final episode, which will be character reaction as a whole, if you don't want to watch any of those without seeing the show first, you can go back to the playlist, which is entitled The Dollhouse is Real. You can check out the videos there. And the second thing that I need to remind you of is that with these videos, we're not going to get into too much detail in these episode by episode breakdowns. We're not going to talk about character names and who plays who and that kind of thing. It's just going to be basic synopsis and reaction. All the true breakdown is going to come after the series breakdown is over and in the final episode. So I just wanted to remind you guys of that, because this series did get broken up a little bit because of Madden and 100 subs and the video responses to Civilian Snowman, which, by the way, as far as the 100 subs Q&A answers, those will be posted probably at the end of this week. So if you haven't asked your questions, still go ahead and do so. The Target follows Echo on an engagement with a man who looks like he is just a bit of a hunter, and he wanted the perfect adventurous woman to go on a date with. They do typical date stuff that risk takers would do. They have sex, that kind of thing. But then right after they have sex, the man says to her, "You have a 3-second head start, and then I'm going to come after you." So the premise of the engagement becomes the fact that this man is trying to kill Echo. And so Echo, of course, has a personality imprint that is not ninjutsu fighter lady, because it wasn't supposed to be a dangerous engagement. So it's about her struggling with who she thinks is a real person trying to be killed. And it's a fairly interesting episode. I like the way it was done a lot. Later on in the episode, you see Topher, who, of course, as we mentioned in the previous breakdown, is the mad scientist guy that's sort of in charge of the goings-on with the imprints. He discovers that, in his words, these are the not so nice adrenaline spikes. So he knows that there's something wrong, and he tells Boyd, who of course is Echo's handler, about it. Boyd tries to go solve the problem, and Boyd actually gets shot. So Echo ends up looking after Boyd instead of the other way around in this episode, which I actually didn't particularly care for too much. I thought it was the one drawback of the episode. But all in all, just in terms of stylistic and Lee, and also the idea of the show about, you think it's a typical date, and then you find out that the flight risk for the engagement, because I forgot to mention that the first thing you see in the episode is Adele mentioning to the client that this particular engagement poses a slight flight risk to our doll, so you have to pay a little bit more. So the client does. So that's what we're told, and then that's what we see is that Echo's actually trying to be killed. Turns out though that the guy completely falsified his information, and that's not the engagement they thought they were sending Echo on at all. And there's actually a lot of investigation that goes on there with that. So that comes into play later on in the show. So all in all, I thought it was a very, very good episode. The best episode probably in the first half of the season. I give it 8 out of 10 stars. I thought it was very well done stylistically, but acting wise, I think, and premise wise, it leaves a little bit to be desired. So 8 out of 10. It doesn't have any impact at all, of course, over the overall rating of the show though. Now, since we have a little bit of time, this turned out to be a very short recap. Sorry, I just didn't have much to say about this episode. Not one of my favorite ones. But while I have an extra few minutes, I want to give you guys some good news. Good news piece number 1. The chateau, excuse me. Not chateau. Chateau's a house. But the chapeau, the Bengals hat. New Bengals hat. Lost my championship one well from 2005 AFC North champions. I didn't really lose it per se. It's just nowhere to be found right now because of the move. So new chateau. So I thought I'd show it off. Hope you guys like it. The other piece of good news is that I was able to work some things out, and I will be able to buy the new motherboard and hopefully get the new computer up and running before the move, so you guys can look forward to awesome editing and 16:9 camera once again, full HD. So hope you guys are excited about that as I am. As always, this is reality according to the Razman and Razman style. It's not just a catchphrase, but a way of life.